I'd very much like to know, does Dean Bowen sit down for breakfast and read the newspaper? How does he cope with the extraordinary range of natural and man-made disasters which seem all around us at present? How does he keep his naive optimism in this world which is going through, I think, quite a disastrous period? Take the situation of our housing development. Everywhere you go, there are these vast areas in which every house seems to be exactly the same, and there's not a tree in sight. And yet Dean Bowen can look at this, and instead of being dismayed, he's just rather amused. In fact, he can take one single house, turn it into a joyous little home, even in some cases have a great heart actually growing, spouting out the top of the building. And it's a house full of love and kindness. Quite extraordinary that he can bring about that miraculous change.
Everyone comes to things in art at different points, and everyone's at a different stage. I've tried to educate myself through decades of art practice and looking at the work of other artists to try and understand more about myself and other cultures and other people. Sometimes you can, even for me, like I can make something and think, oh, well, it's not very interesting, but then maybe as time goes by, you can think, oh, hang on a minute, that's actually saying something I wasn't thinking of. It can sneak up on you, but I think the people who have been looking and thinking about it, you know, we know art can be anything. It can be anything and everything. It's totally open. The whimsical nature of my work is something that's just happened by chance and accidentally. The joy and the optimism in the pictures, it's something that's just evolved. The pictures and the sculptures can be looked at over different levels. Some people look at them and just see joy and humour and optimism. Although they might be animals, they relate to the human condition. There is a lot of grief in the world. There's a lot of trouble on all kinds of levels. It's not something that I've sought to express in my work, the grief of it. But obviously, you know, everyone's experienced grief and suffering and loss. So I guess in a way I'm tackling it from the complete opposite viewpoint and trying to express an optimism in my work. Hope and joy and happiness are just a bigger part of life as depression and misery. It's hard for me to put into words. It just naturally evolves that way. For example, some of the bird and insect pictures are also about sustainability and the environment and being responsible for trying to pollute the world less. There's a reaction also between the characters in the pictures. So there's man's relation to birds and nature and whether we can coexist with animals and creatures as well. I don't think of them as a quirky, smiley work. I think of them, I'm trying to express other things apart from that as well. I think public sculpture is something that's very attractive to certainly modern life, and there's been a lot of interest and money spent in Australia getting public sculpture out into our big cities and regional cities. Like everyone else, not all public sculpture appeals to my taste. Some things, some artists I'm not interested in, or I think they're not really saying much, or I don't like it. It's just my bias, it's just my taste. But the fact that all kinds of sculpture is in the public, even if you may not like some of it, it actually is very, very interesting. And also, just because you like it on the first viewing, you can change your opinion as you become educated about that artist or that object or whatever it may be. So I think public sculpture is doing a lot of good work in helping people appreciate art and leading to greater understanding of all kinds of art. It's not a new thing. It's been out there for a long, long time. It can be controversial, especially when public money is spent on something that perhaps the public don't like, or a section of the public are offended by. You'll lose control as an artist when the sculpture goes out there. It starts getting its own momentum, sometimes immediately. Even if a council commissions a work, there can be some councillors who may not agree with the decision. So some of my sculpture's been sort of attacked in the media when it's been installed. But then again, you know, other people have been very supportive and liked it immediately when it's been exposed and installed in the public. The alternative is we don't waste money on art, we don't waste money on sculpture, we just accumulate wealth. What's the point of it? The point of it is to live, you know, better lives spiritually and physically, and be healthy and engage with each other, respect each other. I don't like all art, but I love that there's art out there that can educate me and teach me about something that I don't know about. And as I said earlier, you might not like something at the beginning when you're first exposed to it, but you can certainly learn to grow and change with exposure to things. So I think art's just so crucial for a healthy society and a healthy person. Without music, without visual art, I mean, there's no point accumulating wealth. The real wealth is in our education and in our joy of appreciating things and each other.